Did you know that every dream you have, well, it might not be random at all. They could be like messages, from somewhere else, quietly revealing hidden secrets about your life while you sleep.
That's a fascinating way to put it.
Today, we're stepping into Seth's insights on exactly this dreams and that deep, mysterious connection between dreams and consciousness.
A big topic, definitely.
And really, this is just the beginning for us. We're actually opening a whole new series dedicated to the world of dreams, their meaning, their power, and the ways they might actually shape our reality.
It's a journey worth taking.
So stay with us as we explore this fascinating path into the unknown.
Let's dive in.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're looking at a really unique perspective today, drawing from these personal accounts and the pretty intriguing philosophy of an entity known as Seth.
Right. And for anyone maybe not familiar, Seth is this non-physical consciousness who spoke through Jane Roberts while she was in a deep trance state.
Yeah, often with a completely different voice, different mannerisms. It's quite something. You've shared some incredible source material, specifically a preface that, wow, it throws us right into a direct, very public encounter with this.
It really does. It sets the stage perfectly.
So our mission here is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge about dreams and consciousness from these experiences.
And what's so compelling is we're not just talking theory. These are firsthand accounts of Jane's journey into these, altered states of consciousness, trance, deep meditation, that kind of thing. And these states, especially with Seth speaking, seem to reveal a vastly different take on reality, particularly about dreams.
So it makes you ask.
Exactly. What can these experiences, which were deeply personal, but sometimes, like we'll see, surprisingly verifiable, what can they teach us about our own awareness, our intuition, maybe even existence itself?
Okay, so let's set the scene. Our story starts with the author, Jane Roberts, appearing on a Boston TV show, WBZ's Today's Woman.
Right. She was there promoting her book, The Seth Material.
It was the last day of this whirlwind tour, and the hosts, Jack Cole and Sonia Carlson, were, let's say, pretty skeptical, which Jane totally got.
She even said she'd probably have felt the same way in their position not long before. Understandable, really.
Absolutely. And Jane talks about feeling this intense apprehension before going out. I mean, she'd never gone into a trance on any other show.
It's one thing in your living room, quite another on live TV.
Totally. She actually doubted it would even happen. But then Jack Cole starts playing a recording of Seth from a previous session.
And that voice filled the studio.
Yes, that deep, booming voice. And Jane said she felt this unmistakable presence. All her worries, the lights, the trance maybe not being deep enough, they just vanished. She just knew, oh, Seth is here.
And right at that moment, the trance experience itself just took over. Unexpectedly, almost. She felt this sudden, huge rush of what she called immense comfort, goodwill, and confidence. Like an understanding below language that Seth was not only right, but that it was time. She quickly reached for her husband Rob's hand, whispered, "Seth is here."
And her face must have started changing then.
Apparently so. Her muscles starting to shift into Seth's distinct expression, because just then, this massive camera lens zoomed right in for an extreme close-up, as if the camera itself sensed something was happening.
Incredible. And what people saw, what the cameras caught, it was extraordinary. Jane Roberts' face literally changed. Her muscles reconfigured into Seth's a very characteristic expression, almost mask-like, but alive.
And her own gestures, her way of moving, gone.
Completely replaced by Seth's. And then Seth started speaking in that deep, booming, definitely masculine voice, addressing the camera, the audience, directly for about 10 solid minutes.
A world away from Jane's own voice and personality.
Absolutely. And the reactions.
Oh, the objective observations were just as telling. Jack and Sonia, visibly stunned. Their skepticism just melted away for a moment.
You could imagine.
And the camera crew, people used to anything happening on live TV, they were reportedly just staring, totally captivated. Afterwards, Jane described the feeling of coming out of it like being pulled to a sudden stop from a tremendously fast-flying plane. She felt this huge energy surge.
Not just neutral energy, though.
No, not at all. She was clear. It was powerfully emotional, reassuring, and strangely personal, warm, and surprisingly intimate. It was obvious to everyone there, and Jane herself, this wasn't just Jane Roberts talking anymore. Something profound had just happened.
And this is where it gets, really interesting. It goes beyond just the phenomenon itself.
Right.
After Seth's initial address, Jack Cole, probably still reeling, asked Seth about reincarnation.
A pretty standard question in that context, maybe.
You'd think. But Seth didn't give some general answer. He immediately started discussing Sonia Carlson's past life. The co-host, sitting right there.
Instantly. And the details were incredibly specific. He talked about a past life where she had a cleft palate, which made speaking difficult. And then he connected that past challenge directly to her current interest in broadcasting. Like her career was a way of overcoming that past limitation.
That's specific.
It gets more so. Seth mentioned her deep love for colors and fabrics, saying she used them to communicate back then and also in her current life.
Whoa.
And he threw in things like 14th century English names and places, details that apparently were later being verified. It wasn't vague stuff.
So how did Sonia react? This must have been stunning for her.
Sonia confirmed right away that Seth's personality analysis of this past self aptly described her. But the real clincher, the part that really made people take notice, Sonia revealed something Jane Roberts absolutely couldn't have known.
Okay.
She said she had, in fact, used colors and fabrics to communicate with children on an educational TV show she worked on.
Oh, way!
Yes, a concrete, verifiable detail that Seth just pulled out of thin air, seemingly. It wasn't just a good guess. It was a direct hit.
Wow. Okay, the implications of that.
They were huge. Jane got calls, letters, visits for weeks. For some viewers, watching Seth wasn't just interesting TV. They called it the most profound religious experience of their lives.
I can believe it.
It convinced people of life after death, even hardcore skeptics, because the information was so specific, so accurate, so personal. So the takeaway for us here isn't just, wow, weird trance thing. It's that Seth delivered verifiable insights that really challenged how people saw the world.
It really makes you wonder about our own intuition, right? What we might be accessing without even realizing it.
Precisely. How much more is available to us?
And that live TV event, because it was so verifiable, it really deepened Jane's own trust in Seth's psychological insights and in what she called the inner intuitive self.
It solidified things for her, no doubt.
Which leads us right into Seth's wider teachings. If this kind of verifiable information can come through in these states, what else is our consciousness capable of? Especially when we think about something universal like dreams.
That's the key question, isn't it? Beyond our normal waking state, what other states are there? What can they show us? Seth suggests the source for our creativity, our inspirations, our dreams, even trance states. It comes from another side of consciousness. Dimensions revealed when we shift our focus away from just the physical world.
Like tuning a radio dial.
Exactly like that, tuning into a different frequency of reality.
And this wasn't just theory for Jane and Rob. Seth's teachings led them to actively explore this dream reality.
They really did. They started simply just recalling and writing down their dreams each morning, making it a practice.
They took it further, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Through, well, more focused experiments, they found they could actually bring their normal waking awareness into their dreams, essentially waking up while still dreaming.
Like lucid dreaming.
Similar to what we call lucid dreaming today, yes. But Seth's framework suggests it might be even more than that, consciously navigating these inner landscapes as real places.
Okay, so let's dig into Seth's core ideas about dreams. He saw them as more than just mental noise.
Far more. He said dreaming is an incredibly active, creative state of consciousness. It's a state where we naturally shed our usual physical limits and tap into our most fundamental abilities. We realize we're not just bound to our physical bodies.
Untethered, almost.
In a way, yes. Our consciousness becomes free to explore realms and possibilities that just aren't accessible when we're focused on, paying the bills and getting through the day.
So when we dream, we're not just watching a movie in our heads, we're actually doing something, creating something.
That's exactly Seth's point.
Yeah.
He argues that in dreams, we're actively creating. We're essentially writing the script for our daily lives, setting up probabilities, influencing things that then show up in our waking reality.
Whoa, okay.
And beyond that, he says, in dreams, we perceive other planes of existence, realities usually hidden by our intense focus on the material world when we're awake. It's a whole other universe we visit every night.
That's a huge concept. So this dream universe, does it have rules or is it just chaos? Feels chaotic sometimes.
It definitely can feel that way. But Seth says no, it's not chaos. The dream universe has its own fundamental laws, its own basic assumptions, just like our physical world has gravity and time.
Different rules, though.
Exactly. Dreams operate by different rules. You might instantly create a new scene just by thinking it, or travel immense distances in a flash. These aren't glitches. They're just how that reality functions.
We're not just temporarily insane when we dream.
Definitely not, according to Seth.
Mm.
He strongly refutes that idea. In fact, he suggests that in some dream states, we might actually be more mentally sound, more alert, certainly more creative than when we're awake.
More active, even.
Yes. Experiencing things like flying, not just as a symbol or fantasy, but as a genuine journey to a real place, a substantive destination within that dream reality. The feelings, the freedom, the real in that context.
It's our waking mind that struggles to make sense of it later.
Precisely. It doesn't fit our physical rules, so we dismiss it. But the dream itself has its own internal logic.
Okay, that distinction is important. Seth used an analogy to help explain this dual focus, didn't he? The creature with two faces.
Ah, yes, that's a great one. Imagine this creature, right? One face is looking intently at the dream reality, totally engaged there. The other face is looking just as intently at our physical waking world.
Okay.
Each face has its own brain, its own way of interpreting its world, its own rules it operates by. But crucially, they're joined together. They're one entity.
But they can't see each other's world.
That's the key part. Neither face can directly perceive what the other is looking at, even though both are fully conscious and part of the same whole self.
So that illustrates what?
It illustrates the current, and Seth stresses artificial separation between our waking awareness and our dream reality. We're basically walking around with only one face fully active, mostly ignoring the other one.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
No. Seth taught that by consciously working at it, experimenting, like Jane and Rob did, you can start to bridge that gap. You can subjectively confirm for yourself that dream events are real within their own context. Like those flying dreams feeling like real travel to real places.
So the big insight is that our normal waking state is just one viewpoint, one face.
Exactly. To see the whole picture, Seth says we need to learn to consciously shift our focus between these different facets of our own consciousness. Bridge that artificial divide.
That really reframes things. It's like an invitation to explore our own inner space. This deep dive, then, it's really about more than just dreams or even channeling.
Much more. Seth suggests these phenomena are basically evidence, compelling signs of a much larger inherent creative consciousness active within every single one of us. An inner universe we barely know exists.
There's so much more to us than we usually acknowledge.
And there's even some surprising sort of corroborating evidence. Our sources mention a NASA scientist, James Wall. Independently, his scientific work started to echo concepts Seth had discussed years earlier through Jane in Trance, specifically about the fundamental units beneath material particles.
Really? Seth talked about particle physics.
In his own way, yes.
Yeah.
And this scientist found resonance. It suggests that this deeper consciousness, accessed in trance or maybe even dreams, can tap into information far beyond our normal reach, information that later aligns with scientific discovery.
Wow.
And it highlights that this creative consciousness isn't just for special people. It's accessible to everyone, especially in dreams, maybe out-of-body states, or even just those everyday hunches or creative ideas that seem to pop into your head from nowhere.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How many times have we brushed off a strong gut feeling or a vivid dream as nothing?
When maybe it was that deeper part of us trying to get a message through.
It seems, literally and metaphorically, sometimes you have to close your eyes to really see. Our everyday consciousness gives us just one slice of reality.
A very specific, very filtered slice.
But by learning to, I guess, quiet the external senses, shift focus inward, glimpses of this other highly rational, huge inner universe start to emerge. A reality with its own logic, its own wisdom.
And exploring these inner realms is so important. It connects us to the fundamental inner reality beneath our everyday thoughts. The source, Seth would say, of our personal lives and our collective civilization.
It takes a kind of letting go, though.
It does, letting go of our rigid assumptions about what's real. And it requires a simple but profound trust. Like trusting the water will hold you when you dive in. It's an act of courage, really, to explore your own depths.
So bringing it all together, what's the main takeaway here? We've seen how Seth presents dreams not as just random mental noise.
Right, but as a rich, active dimension of our consciousness. A place where we're fully aware, incredibly creative, maybe even mapping out our waking lives.
It's a potent reminder that the self, yourself, is way bigger and more capable than you probably think.
And connecting that to the bigger picture. This whole deep dive into Seth suggests our normal conscious experience is just one part, one facet of a much larger interconnected reality. The fact that we can potentially wake up in dreams, travel to places that feel quite substantive, access verifiable information in altered states, It just fundamentally challenges our usual ideas about where consciousness starts and stops.
It implies our inner life is just as real, maybe even more fundamental than our outer one.
Potentially, yes.
So this view of dreams as a doorway, a gateway to our inner universe, it could really change how we see ourselves and what we're capable of. It reframes the whole human experience.
It certainly offers a vastly expanded view.
So we'd encourage you to think about this. If your dreams really are messages from a deeper, more conscious part of yourself, what quiet insights might they be trying to share with you tonight? And maybe more importantly, how could you start listening?